All right. I am here with the beautiful Jhantteil, who has been a client of mine for I think what 12, 13 weeks. And I've just
Mhm.
seen tremendous growth in her. And I cannot wait to have this conversation with you and just hear about how you've grown and what has happened in your business and in you, more importantly, since you have joined Break Free. So thanks for joining me. I'm excited to have this
Yeah,
conversation with you.
thanks.
Jentel, tell me about where you were a little bit. Tell me a little bit about where you were before you came into the coaching program, and then we'll talk about where you are now. But where were you? Like, what enticed you to want to enroll? What happened?
So I actually had just, well, I was a few months after leaving the team that I was on, and I was only on the team for a year. But I left the team, was a single solo agent, and I knew that I needed coaching in my life to be able to be more productive in real estate, and not just my business, but also my personal life. So it was interesting when you had send me a text or a message on Instagram because I had followed you for so long since that podcast back in, I don't know, 2021, 22, I think it was. And I had just so much admiration for somebody who I didn't even know just from an hour of podcast. And then when you messaged me, it was like literally at the right time. And I didn't even know that I needed it, but I knew that I needed something to help me grow.
Aw, I love that. So we connected on our first conversation.
Hmm.
Fell in love with you on that first conversation, and
Yeah.
I just felt like we had a lot in common.
Hmm.
But where were you at in like your life and where were like your thinking? Where was your business? What made you think that you needed a coach?
A coach. So again, I went from team solo agent to team agent to now solo agent again. And it's kind of hard to separate yourself from that team in the beginning because things are still coming in. Like you still have closings with that team from the prior year. You still have people calling you from referring you from previous clients. So it was really hard for me, even though I started out as a solo agent, it was really hard for me to separate myself from that team and make myself again the brand, right? And then from the personal perspective, I was actually ready to quit real estate. Um, Maybe not necessarily go back to a 9 to 5, but do something that was less needed my attention, right? Like something from home that I could do because I am a single mom and my daughter is in an age that needs me a lot more than she might have when she was 8. Well, she probably doesn't need me as much, but I feel like she does. So yeah, I was ready to quit, ready to do something else, and also needing to find myself again from the team.
Yeah, I remember that conversation. You actually
Yeah.
asked me, like, I don't know if I'm doing the right thing. I don't know if I want to stay in this profession.
Yeah.
Um, so why did you stay in it then?
Well, after going through the sessions with you and learning who I want to be, and also not just learning who I want to be, but in the business and learning who I want to be as a mom, as people see me. But I also learned how to schedule things accordingly and how to set boundaries. Like I didn't set boundaries before. I just said yes to everything. I was saying yes to my clients even when I had already said to myself, this is time for me and my daughter. I would be answering phone calls or I would be telling like family members, yes, I can do that. I don't need to work. I don't need to get those calls in, right? So I was saying no to myself a lot and yes to other people. And I saw that it was hurting not just my business, but also personally, I was feeling drained. I was exhausted and overwhelmed, which is why I was like, wanted to quit and just do something that wasn't so demanding. But also setting those boundaries has helped. Like it really does help when you set the boundaries and you just say, no, I have an appointment. Nobody needs to know that I'm going out with my daughter. In fact, that's the excuse that I use all the time now. I have an appointment. And it's not an excuse. I really do have an appointment, whether it's an appointment with my daughter or an appointment for myself. That's it. I have an appointment.
Yeah.
So that
Everything's an
has,
appointment.
yeah, that has really helped in clearing and just making sure that from 9 to 12, 9 to 1, whatever the case is, my appointment is calling those people or doing the social media. It's getting that business. And then from then on, other appointments, whatever they may be. Nobody needs to
Right.
know.
Right. Well, and if you're doing the work from in the morning from 9 to 12 or 9 to 11 and actively seeking out, you're probably in more appointments in the afternoon
Yeah.
for your business.
For
Yeah.
my business, right.
Would you agree? Because I hear that from a lot of agents when they do have a hard time setting boundaries and they are yes people.
Mhm.
I always say I'm a recovering people pleaser myself. That we say maybe I should go to a 9 to 5 because if someone else is telling us we have to be somewhere,
Yeah.
then we think, well, that's a boundary. Someone else is telling me I have to punch a clock. Someone else is telling me I have
Yeah.
to be here at 8 or 9. And so that is the excuse of being able to tell somebody I have to work. But when we have our own business, we're our own boss. If we're people pleasers, it almost feels selfish to say, I have to work on my business
Yeah.
before I can help you out.
Absolutely. I just said this to somebody the other day. Like every single time that I say yes to something that is outside of I'm aligning myself with right now, that's not on my schedule, I am saying no to myself and I'm saying no to my daughter. Because if I say yes to those other things that, yes, they're fun and yes, I would love to do them, but they're not on my schedule right now. And sorry, we can reschedule it for another time. I'm saying no to my income, right? Or to my
Yeah.
business. And in
Yeah.
turn, that's saying no to my daughter, that's telling her, hey, you're not worth me making that money. And I mean, it's not about the money, but it's also about like we require things to live, right? So
Right.
she needs to feel safe. And that's how I can help her feel safe.
Right. I
Right.
love that. And I remember saying, like, I remember thinking, because I was a single mom too when I got started. I think that's how you and I really
Yeah.
in one of the ways we do in many, many
Yeah.
ways. But I remember almost using my children as an excuse
Hmm.
and going, I'm not teaching them anything by using them
Yeah.
as an excuse. And then going, wait a minute, they're my why, just like what you
Yeah.
said. I not only do I have to put a roof over their head, but I also am responsible for showing them what's possible.
Yeah.
I'm responsible for showing them. I can't just tell them that they can do anything. I can't just tell them that they're great. I can't just tell them that the world is their oyster and that they're capable of doing whatever it is that they desire.
Yeah.
While I sit on the sidelines and play small,
Right. Right.
they're going to do what I do. They're not
Yeah.
going to do what I tell them. They're going to monkey see, monkey do. They're going to do what I do. So it's not only our responsibility to put a roof over their head and
Hmm.
feed them. Yes, that's a huge responsibility. But what you're giving your daughter, I think, when you say is so much more.
Oh yeah, so much more, and I can see it in her. Like my daughter's not very, she's affectionate, but in her own way, right? Where she doesn't show affectionate the same way. She doesn't come to you for hugs or anything. But the other day we went out to see the firework, and typically, like we're scrolling on our phones or. I may be answering text messages that are coming in. Do you know that she took the cell phone away from me? She's like, no, put it away, we're here together. And I was like, oh yeah, you're right. Here, I guess. Take myself.
Be present.
She's gonna be 15 and most teenagers are the ones scrolling on their phones, but here she's taking my cell phone away because she wants me to be present with her.
Yeah. And that's all
Which
they want.
it was like a huge eye opening and something like, oh my gosh, that's all that she wants, right? This is her way of showing love to people and it's her way of receiving that love is being present. So I
Yeah.
was like, okay, note taken, no more cell phones while we're together.
Right.
Gotcha.
You've grown in so many ways that have
Mhm.
been visible, like truly
Yeah.
visible. Your
Hmm.
business has grown, your pipeline has grown, the way that you're setting the example for your daughter. What would you say is the most profound or the if you could just choose one area that you would say that you've grown the most, what would that be?
Yeah, so I think that for me, it's leaning into who I am and showing that to the world, whether or not they care. Like, not that they don't care, but whether or not they think I'm crazy, right? Or people make fun of me, whatever. It doesn't matter because you're gonna either love me or hate me. And if you hate me, you're not for me. And if you love me, then we can work together.
I don't know
So,
why you're making this is making me emotional, Jhantteil, because
oh, Brooke, don't make me cry. But
it's
it's
so big. But I think that anyone watching this doesn't, I want them, it's so big. It's so big because if they could see you before,
yeah,
like it's so big. And
yeah.
by the way, if you guys aren't following her on Instagram, you got to go to her Instagram because it's so good and her videos are so good. And when she actually like really shows who she is, it is absolutely amazing. It's
Yeah.
like I literally have seen you become a butterfly.
Yeah, I think so too. And in that leaning into who I am, you feel more comfortable when you're leaning into who you are and forgetting about all of the noise around you. Because when you're leaning into somebody that you're not, or you're pretending to be something that you're not, it is super uncomfortable and it comes off so authentic. So in my like social media, because I do speak two languages, English and Spanish. Actually, I tell people three, but I don't speak. I speak English, Spanish, and Spanglish. It's my joke to every client. So in my social media, I use that ability of my culture, right? Because people want to connect with people who they know and they trust. And they may not know me personally, but they trust me because we're the same culture, we speak the same languages, and we can understand each other one way or the other. So I'm putting, as difficult as it is sometimes, I am putting myself out there in a way that it's me. It's nobody else but me. And I am seeing the fruit of that because people are reaching out to me. They're saying, "Oh my gosh, you're coming out and you just look so much happier. You look like you love what you're doing again." And also, my pipeline is filling from that. People are reaching out to me because before I was like, well, do I put the Spanish? Do I not put the Spanish? Do I even post on social media? Does anybody even care? People kept forgetting that I was a real estate agent. They would text me and they would be like, hey, are you still doing real estate? Yeah, duh, I am. But now people are like, hey, I have somebody that wants to buy. Can I send them to you? Yes, please. People are reaching out to me saying, hey, I want to buy. How do we do this? They may not want to buy today or tomorrow, but the whole point of that is to fill that pipeline for whether it's 6 months from now or even a year from now. And that to me is amazing because before I was just getting closings and then, okay, what's next? Like now I know what's next.
Right. You can project, right?
Mhm.
So you're able to have those conversations, and that's one thing that we talk about so much is staying in relationship with people,
Yeah.
knowing what's going on in their lives. And
Yeah.
by doing so, you can literally start to project what your business will look like in the next 12 months by
Yeah.
knowing what's going on in people's lives and asking them,
Yeah.
do you have any real estate plans in the next year?
Hmm.
By you attracting them and being your authentic self and putting yourself out there, right?
Yeah,
That's what they
absolutely.
want. They want the authentic you. They know
And
when you're not being authentic.
right, they don't because it feels such like fraud kind of like when you're doing something that's not you. And also when you're doing something that is you, you're attracting the people that are like you and you're not just working for that with that person just because I need another paycheck. You're going out with these guys, with these buyers or you're meeting with the sellers and they become part of your family now because you're really truly enjoying yourselves. They're asking you over for coffee or taking you out to lunch, whatever, and you're really having fun. So that's really why it's because like my perspective has changed so much because I'm enjoying myself again. I'm having fun with it. And when they say when you're having fun, it doesn't feel like you're working or whatever. And that's really how I feel right now. So yeah, of course, some days you're going to have those downs where you're like, oh my gosh, what am I doing here? But there's so many other highs.
Yeah. You're in alignment.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
in alignment with your authentic self. You know who your ideal client is. I actually even remember one of our conversations. where you did not think that being bilingual was a big deal.
I know.
You didn't even think about the idea of being bilingual as like something that should be shared. And I was like, what? Are you? Because it was just something that was so normal for you.
Yeah.
What
It really
started to
is,
happen
yeah.
when you started to share that?
Well, people from all kinds of walks and all kinds of places that I didn't even know existed, even here in the Poconos, are like, "Hey, I've been living here for X amount of time. I didn't know that, this place existed in the Poconos, or I would love to buy a house in the Poconos," whatever the case is. And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I've been hiding like a clam, and you people are out here needing my help. What am I doing?" It kind of, when you put it into perspective like that and you start doing the things that feel natural and authentic to you, and then you realize, like, I could have been doing this for the past 4 or 5 years, wasted a lot of time. But at the same time, I feel like things happen for a reason. So
Yeah.
I was put in this place for a reason at the right time.
Yeah, I definitely. Things always do. And one of our conversations was I truly believe that by you not putting yourself out there, by you not telling people what you do, you're doing them a disservice.
Yeah,
Really, truly.
100%.
Like you have such a beautiful gift. And by finding out what that was that sets you apart, not just the fact that you're bilingual, but who you are and
Yeah.
how bright you
Yeah.
are and the light you are on the inside. We haven't talked about like how you would dress down and not allow your light to shine through. And I'm like, Jhantteil, what are you doing? Like, you're just such a light. But even the bilingual part, like we had talked about where I can't speak intelligently or about contract to
Mhm.
someone who only speaks Spanish.
Yeah.
I cannot service them at all in a way that you can. So by
Yeah.
you not saying, I am fluent, I am bilingual, I'm trilingual. Is it trilingual? Is that what we would say? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what that would be, but that would be a disservice if
Yeah.
I didn't know that I could refer you to them, if somebody in the public didn't know that you were able to help them. So just by coming from contribution and adding
Yeah.
value, and instead of like saying, "How can I get a new sale today? How can I get a commission check today?"
Right.
And turning that around and saying, "What gift do I have that I can offer the world?"
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny that you say that because, like, while I have the last name Lopez and people either make the assumption that you speak Spanish, or they make the assumption that because my first name is not Hispanic at all, that I'm probably married to somebody that comes from that culture, and they call my colleague, who is Spanish, looks Spanish, has a Spanish last name. She can speak it, but not confidently enough. And she says to me all the time, she dances in Spanish and I speak in Spanish. And agents will call her and she's like, I can't, here's the referral. I'm gonna send you to Jhantteil because I can't do it. I can dance it, but she can speak it. So
Yes.
it's like a nice inside joke, but even she reminds me, she's like I've spoken to her about you, and she's like, you need to listen to your coach, because I think I've been telling you this for a while now, where you're not necessarily in hiding, but you're almost like Superman at night, or I don't know, one of those superheroes at night, where you're just incognito. People don't realize that you speak Spanish and other agents can refer to you. I
Mm.
think that especially in this business, and I haven't noticed this in myself, but I know other people experience this. People feel like it's a dog eat dog kind of world,
Mm.
when it's really not. Like, I refer some of my clients to agents all the time because I just don't feel like I can service them. And here, so it's amazing to have those relationships and build those relationships and let people know, like, hey, this is what I can do and this is what you can do. So, we can work that way. We don't have to.
I That is the definition of an abundant mindset, my dear.
Yeah.
And I love
Yeah.
yes, because the dog eat dog world says there's not enough to go around for everybody. A
Hmm.
dog eat dog world says if you have something, that means you must have taken something from me. That
Yeah.
must mean
Yeah.
that there's less to go around. And what you're
Hmm.
saying is there's plenty for everyone,
Yeah. Right.
which is huge.
Yeah. Let's be honest. I mean, unless you have a team, you cannot service 100 people. You would just never have a life, right? And we do this kind of work because we want to be able to have a life outside of work, right? A lot of us come from a 9 to 5 to be able to have that flexibility. But the only way you're going to have that flexibility is A, the schedule, learn that, and B, working with other co-broks, like copaesthetically,
Yeah.
referring them as needed.
Well, I have a feeling our next step with you is probably going to be maybe building a small team. I don't know, but I have a feeling with you shining your light so much, you might be getting so much business coming in. We might have to talk about
Yeah,
yeah, we might have to
maybe.
talk about
Let's
leveraging
see.
yourself a little bit. We'll talk about that. So,
Yeah.
but no, but that'll be completely up to you. We'll build it your way. But I'm just saying, I think you might surprise yourself with how much business you've got coming in. What has changed in your business?
I mean, a lot of it is just really consistency, right? Because before it was just kind of like all over the place. There was a schedule, but there was no schedule. Well, it was on my calendar. I didn't really follow my calendar, but now I'm sticking to the calendar as much as possible. Yes, things come up, especially this summer, with my daughter getting injured. So there's just been a lot going on, but it's when there's a schedule, even those things that come up last minute are easy to fill in and kind of fix things on the schedule. And because I'm consistent on that schedule, I'm consistent with everything else. I'm reaching out to my database, I'm reaching out to my sphere, doing the social media thing without feeling exhausted or overwhelmed. And people are seeing that and they're reaching out to me and they're wanting to like figure out how they can work with me or wanting to work with me right now. And it's amazing because I couldn't tell you that that was the case before. While people were reaching out, it was like very sprinkled and
Mm,
it feels scary still because for me, it's an unknown and it's like, oh my gosh, how do I handle this? But I'm learning, right? Because we're all still growing. Whereas before it was like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do?
yeah,
So I know that in the next 3 to 6 months, I'm going to have things coming up, buyers coming up, sellers coming up. And it feels great because before it was like, I'm not sure where that's going to come from. I'm not sure what I'm
yeah.
going to do for the rest of the year. I got a few closings, great, but then what happens when that ends? So it's that consistency for me, committing to myself and committing to that schedule.
Right. I love that. You keep talking about like being able to project in your pipeline. And I love that
Hmm.
because that's what happens when you build a business on relationships
Yeah.
and you know what's happening in your sphere's lives. Where when we are living and building a business on purchasing online leads, and there's nothing wrong with purchasing online leads. However, we know that when you purchase cold leads, if you don't answer that lead within 5 minutes, the probability of converting it goes down by 400%. And so you do lose your life because you are on call
Mhm.
24/7
Yeah,
and you cannot project your pipeline. So you
absolutely.
wake up every day wondering, where is my next piece of business going to come from?
Mhm.
And you're in anxiety and fear all the time,
Yeah,
where you're going, I know I have a pipeline built. As
yeah.
long as I stay in relationship, I know what's going on with my sphere.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's super important in the real estate industry is relationships. And I guess I knew that when I first started, but I didn't realize how important it was until you're in it. And even my past clients, one of my past clients just texted me the other day, hey, something's wrong with the title or something came up. Can you help me figure this out? And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. I'd be happy to solve that issue for you
Yeah,
because you stay in connection with them. And if you're building that relationship right, they really do become like your family.
they do. I
Some
know.
of my buyers,
Go ahead.
some of my buyers are inviting me to like baby showers and even their weddings. And I'm like,
Yes.
That's so personal to somebody, right? So you really do become their family, and that relationship is really necessary.
Right. Well, if you're being invited to baby showers and weddings, you are absolutely building a repeat and referral business. And
Yeah.
that is how it's growing because they're going to say, how do you know the groom? How do you know,
Yeah.
the bride? And how do you know the person? And I'm their realtor. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
What? I didn't invite my realtor to the wedding. What did you do that was so special? Like, why are you here? It's just, I'm in relationship with them.
Yeah.
I didn't ghost them after the closing table. I didn't say,
Mhm.
thanks for that and then leave. Where that's what we're finding out is the statistics are actually showing that at the closing table, about over 80% of buyers and sellers will say, yeah, I would absolutely use my realtor again.
Mhm.
They had a good
Yeah.
experience during the buying and selling process. But then as time goes by, research shows, I mean, back in 2018, only I think 24% of sellers actually use their same realtor again. And in 2024, only 8% of sellers actually use their same realtor again. So they're saying at the closing table, yes, I'll use them. But then when they actually go to have to hire somebody, that realtor is being forgotten because they didn't
Yeah.
keep in touch after the closing. You're setting yourself apart. You're staying in a relationship. You're getting invited to the weddings. You're getting invited to the showers. Like you're leading with
Yeah.
relationship.
Yeah, absolutely. I forgot what I was gonna say and then I don't remember.
That's okay. We'll come back to it if you do. Interrupt me if you do. Interrupt me if you do. What would you say to an agent who might be struggling to find their way right now, or is
Mhm.
just getting a little frustrated with the way that their business is going?
I would definitely say that it's important to lean into somebody that's going to help you grow because I honestly couldn't have done this without you, Brooke. Like honestly, I couldn't. Yes, I remember the first session, I'm like, oh yeah, I've done that before. Oh gosh, here goes this letter that I have to do again, or this disc that I've done 100 times. But if it wasn't for your help in guiding and pulling those things out, like the letter for me, for example, was one of the hardest things for me to do because I done it 100 times, right? But the way that you guided me out of that to just think bigger and not smaller was super helpful. And I'm like, I can now envision myself as like that $10 million producer. I can envision myself in places that I may have not put myself before because I was thinking small. And especially if you're a solo agent, you're doing this really by yourself. I mean, yes, you have other colleagues in the offices and whatnot, but you're doing this by yourself. And I worked with a team in my 9 to 5, so I always had somebody to lean on. And then when you're doing this solo, you're like, who do I go to for advice? Who has done this before me? That I can be like, hey, how did you get out of this? So I think that's really important. Because our office offers the coaching program, when I graduated from the coaching program, I was like, okay, well, now what?
Hmm.
All by myself. How do I figure out the rest? How
Yeah.
I can do the business all day, but for me, it was that mindset growth that I needed. And having that coach, having you as my coach has really helped me come out of that mindset. So I think that's I would 100% say to anybody, if your office does not offer a coach, and even if your office may offer a coach, if that office coach is not aligning to you, then find somebody else that aligns to you
Yeah. That's
because
good
that's
advice.
how you're going to grow. We don't know it all at the end of the day.
Yeah. I still have a coach. I've been in this industry
Mhm.
since 2010, and I I agree. I would never go without a coach simply for, yes, for the accountability piece, but also I want somebody to be able to believe in me on the days that I don't.
Yeah,
I want somebody
exactly.
to like pave the path for me and show me, like, I want my path to be expedited. I don't want to have to
Mhm.
do all the ways that I think it should be done. I want somebody to say, this is what works,
Yeah.
like, because I'll sit there and play games in my head and think of all the reasons it won't work. I just want someone
Yeah,
to say, here's what works. So
yeah.
do it. And then have somebody say, how did it go? Or whatever that is. But you had talked
Mhm.
about, what you were kind of describing is what I would say would be stepping into the identity of your highest self.
Yes.
We had
Yeah.
talked about that quite a bit.
Yeah.
If you said, showing up as a $10 million producer. And that is, I would say, the transformation I've seen in you.
Yeah. It's funny because when I first started doing that identity piece, all I can think about was like the outward things, right? Like how I dress or how I look and all of this outward stuff. But it's not until you dig deep and find that inward stuff that you're like, oh, I can be that person. It's not just how I dress. It's not just how I look. I can be that person. I just have to put myself in those shoes. And that's hard to do, especially when you've come from the kind of background that I've come from, right? At where and I hate to put it this way, but just thinking small all the time or thinking like, okay, this is all I can do because this is how what everybody else has done in the past. This is how I've been taught to do. So it's super hard to outgrow that. But once you do, you're like, oh, this is great. I love this part of me.
Yes, because she's in there and she's saying,
Yeah.
let me out. And she's
Yeah.
totally come out. Yeah. So it's like you kind of wake up, and when you don't feel like getting up or out of bed or whatever you say, or you don't feel like for instance, I'm going to just kind of share what you said and shared. You don't feel like going live on Friday
Yes.
on your social media. And you said, well, what would the version of me who sells $10 million every year do?
Hmm.
She would go live even if she doesn't feel like it,
Yeah, absolutely.
just
Absolutely.
stepping in the identity of her.
And sometimes even not just like mentally, but yes, it does help well, especially as females, right? It does help to get up in the morning, and if you put makeup on, make your hair look nice. Yes, those things do help, but it's the feeling, the mindset of I don't feel I not frumpy. I don't feel blah today. I feel great,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So it's just telling yourself like, okay, yeah, I don't want to do it, but no, I will feel great after I do it, and I'm going to feel great while I'm doing it.
Showing up as her, believing
Yeah.
you already are her, thinking and
Mhm.
feeling, and then like it's stepping into the identity, right? A lot of people say,
Yeah.
I have a, I always say, like, I have a lot of agents come in their first goal for some reason, always like, oh, I just want to make six figures or whatever that goal is. And then they go into, I want to make 250 or what. They always think it starts to be with a money goal, but then it's like, it really becomes into like, how many people can I serve?
Yeah.
But it's like, okay, if you want to make that six figures, if you want to make that seven figures, if you want to, whatever it is that you want to make, we have to ask ourselves, how then do I show up as her? Because
Yeah.
so many people say, well, I'll show up as the six figure income earner or whatever that is, the 10 person who sells $10 million or whatever that is. Once it's in my account or once I've already done it, it's like, no, no, no. You got to show up as her first. You got to believe you are here for her first. And
Yeah.
then it will start to show up in your physical world. So,
Right.
and you have done that beautifully. So, and now your pipeline is full. So it's see how that happens. It's amazing.
Yes. Yeah.
What's next for you before we wrap this up? What's next for you?
Well, I'm gonna obviously continue leaning into who I am and exploring that a lot more. I feel like I've hidden myself for a really long time for whatever reason. And so I want to continue exploring that because not for many reasons, right? I see what it's bringing to the table for my business. I see the kind of people that are aligning to me. And also on a personal level, I see what it's doing to my daughter, like how she's taking the cell phone away from me
Yeah.
on a like when we're together and she wants to spend some more time with me. And she's also in that prime age where she's seeing, like you said earlier, she's seeing how mom is growing. And I can't say to her, hey, you need to do this, that, and the other so that you can grow, but also be sitting here playing small, be sitting here not keeping to my own goals. So I'm definitely going to be doing that. And I definitely want to keep working with you because honestly, I don't think that I'll transgress, right? I don't know if that's the word, but I don't think I'll go
What is either?
back.
But yeah, I hear what you're saying. Yeah. Go backwards. We'll say that.
Yeah, I don't think I'll go backwards, but I know that right here, right now, I feel like I'm almost at that breakthrough and I don't want to, and I know that I still have a lot more to learn and I would love to continue that accountability. And also having those group sessions really does help when you're speaking with like-minded individuals.
Well, you know that you're not going anywhere. So
Yeah.
I've absolutely loved working with you, and we are going to continue working on it. And there are many different levels that we are going to. So I can't wait to be a part of that journey.
Yeah, I'm
Thank
excited.
you for this.
Sh
You have been absolutely amazing. Your growth is very empowering, and you are going to help others. So
Thanks.
I'm really proud of you, and I can't wait to see what's in
Thanks.
store.
Thanks, Brooke.
Thank you.